Wow, football makes you rich. In fact, sports generally will make you rich. And I'm thinking maybe I retired too early. You know, every time I think about that. But then, joining us on the Breakfast Show today is sport journalist with the Punch newspapers. Of course, you know that every time when these reports come out, a lot of publications do follow it up. Idris Additional, glad to have you with us here today.
Good morning, Solomon. It's nice to be here to talk sport, and then it's always nice hearing this news that sports makes you rich. At least people know that there are some lawful means of making money, and not just any money, cool, lots of money.
Well, it's always been that it's not usually that the footballer is the richest man in sports.
Yeah.
The last time it was Tiger Woods for a very long time. What has happened to the rich sport of golf and motorsports, which are more expensive sports than football? Really?
Actually, I believe football is topping for the first time in a long while because of just the figure of the current footballers we have. You know, if you look at football generally in the world, it's the most followed sport. That's why it's called the king of sports. But generally, the players have not been able, because we always have stars spread over a generation. Let me use that word. You don't have the concentration. It's not a single or individual sport. It's a team sport. In a team, you can have 4 or 5 stars at the same time. But in recent times, in the last 10 years, the focus has been only on 2 players. If it's not Ronaldo, it's Messi. So everybody wants to identify with either of these. That's why in that list, if you look, Ronaldo is number 1, probably Messi is number 2. So if Ronaldo retires today, even as popular as Beckham was, he was, I think, when they did the list the last time, in 2012 or so, he was still 3rd behind Tiger Woods, this guy, Michael Schumacher, and you know, some other ones. He couldn't break into that top 3 then. But now we have footballers topping.
Yeah,
Ronaldo, Messi.
Ronaldo and Messi first and second, and then Neymar a distant 8th. But
Yes.
then we still have motorsports people. We still have Vettel, Hamilton, and Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, you know, if you look at the Formula One, if you look at the money that goes into Formula One, you know that it's unarguably the most expensive sport in the world. To build a Formula One car, the last time I checked, you need nothing less than $2 million to build one. You know, they are customized. The tires alone could set you back for as much as $50,000. And you need at least 7, 8 of that for a race, a single race. For instance, if you are running at the Japan Open, Japan Open or Japan Grand Prix, you can't use a tire for more than 2 laps. So at the end of 2 laps, you park, your driver parks in, they change the tires, the 4 tires. So you don't have the luxury. If you are not rich, you can't be there. And then these cars are super fast. So that's why their drivers are super rich.
Yeah, drivers are super rich, but it seems from this list, they are not as rich as the footballers, Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. And then there is Neymar in the 8th. Yeah. Then you have tennis superstars, Roger Federer, and of course, Novak Djokovic. Are you surprised that Nadal is not on this list?
Gradually, Nadal is, I'm not surprised he's not on the list because he has been out of tennis for 2 years now. He's just getting back in his self that we know. You know, we having followed Nadal for a while, you know that Nadal is a power player. At a point, he was, I think he was 6th or 7th before. But now, now that he's number one, world number one in tennis, he would get himself back. So I look to seeing him very soon on the list.
Now, they say football is the king of sport.
Yes.
But the biggest showpiece for sports is the Olympics. And unarguably, the biggest event in the Olympics is the athletics event.
Yeah.
The fastest man in the world, who incidentally has retired, is the last man on the top 10 list.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt.
Isn't that an irony?
It's not an irony. It's not an irony. When you immediately you announce your retirement, those endorsements, most endorsements you have, gradually
even before he retired,
yeah,
he was not the top of the ladder.
He couldn't be, because he has you know, at times these companies look at your marketability, they look at your popularity as well. Bolt is popular, but is he as popular as Ronaldo? Even you know, recently Ronaldo went to fulfill the desires, the dreams of a young is it a Pakistani boy who has always been dreaming of, you know, seeing Ronaldo. So Bolt is popular, but he's not as popular as these people.
Right. Let's look at Ronaldo. Let's look at this now.
Okay.
He's 32.
Yeah.
Moving on to 33.
33.
Do you consider this year as probably the final year he will top that list? Because Messi still has 2 years more. Neymar just made the world record move of £200 million.
Yeah.
Do you see maybe in the next 1 year Neymar closing up the gap and moving up to, say, third, and then Messi overtaking Ronaldo?
For now, Ronaldo still has a lot in his bags. He hasn't said he's retiring anytime soon. Sometime early this year, he was asked by, I think, a BBC correspondent that you're 32, you're competing with Messi. He said, no, I'm not competing with Messi. He said, okay, how soon are you thinking of retiring? He said, he still has some years in football. And I see him retiring at Madrid. Immediately he announces his retirement, endorsement starts going to another player. So right now, Neymar is rich. All this, let's note that this monies don't come from the salaries alone. They come from endorsements. This, you know, immediately he leaves the scene, he announces, those companies start looking for the next hottest athlete to put their money on. So at the expiration of their contract, they just tell, brother, we can't renew this. So he has made his money. So even if he retires he has made history as the first footballer to top the Forbes rich athletes list. That will go a long way. It will take another, you know, some years for another footballer to match that. Don't be surprised next year Lewis Hamilton can come to number 1. Messi will be number 2. Ronaldo might fall to number 3.
All right, finally, footballers, motorsports people, tennis and athletics,
yeah,
then maybe one person from golf on this list. So you have 3 footballers, 3 from Formula 1.
Yeah.
We have 2 from tennis, and then you have golf and athletics. Aren't you surprised that basketball, despite all the big deals in the United States, the NBA, where a player will sign, say, $300 million,
yeah,
nobody is on the top 10?
I'm kind of surprised, but I'm not too surprised as well. It's a compilation of their net worth and whatever endorsements and everything they have. So not having a basketballer there, and this list was compiled when the NBA was off season. So the NBA just started sometime early this week.
But does it really have anything to do with the off season and the on season?
Yeah. The more you play, the higher your
revenue.
Yeah, your revenue. So the revenues were not coming during the off season, so I was not surprised they are not on the top 10.
So this is 2006, 2007, 2016, 2017,
yeah,
then 2017, 2018 is upon us.
Yeah.
Now the point is, who would you expect to be on the top of that list next
year?
Rating?
By the next rating, I wouldn't be surprised if I find Lewis Hamilton. because currently
That's at the top.
yeah,
That's number
at the
one.
top, at number one. Currently, he is ensuring that he keeps Sebastian Vettel in the second place. So if he's able to win the Formula One championship this year, endorsements will come in again, and then he might top the list. Their own money does not come. They come.
Maybe because. Maybe because you're a Formula One fan then. Okay, maybe. Maybe because you love the screech of the tires.
No, seriously.
All right. Thank you so much, Idris, additional of the Punch newspapers, sport journalist with the Punch newspapers. Thanks for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much.